This lecture started out with a brief explanation of quantum entanglement, the state where electrons are physically separate but are able to affect one another, specifically in regards to their spin. Professor Ritz then switched gears to talk about the Ornithurcus rubellica, or the European robin. They are short-distance migrants who travel from the middle and northern parts of Europe to the southern parts of Europe and North Africa for the winters. They also take different routes depending on if they are going south for the winter or north for the summer. When they go south for the winter, they take a less direct route that avoids flying over the Alps and the Mediterranean. And when they come home in the spring, they take a more direct route in order to get back for mating. Ritz and his team were interested in this, so they decided to investigate, and their results were surprising. It turns out that altering magnetic north alters the path that birds attempt to take. This means that they have some type of internal magnetic compass. These birds care less about going north or south and more about going to a pole or equator based on the Y component of the magnetic field that they perceive. It turns out that these birds have a protein called cryptochrome in the receptors in their eyes. The electrons in the flavin molecule inside the protein spin in a specific direction based on the magnetic pole position. Whether the electrons are in singlet form or triplet form changes their spin, which changes the chemistry of the thing in which it exists. This change in chemistry changes how these birds orient themselves in order to migrate. As Ritz and his teams continued to experiment, they found a number of other factors that influence the direction of birds' migration. Color lights, for example, affect their migration patterns. Under blue and green light, birds oriented just fine. However, under yellow and red lights, they did not. Sound also affected the birds. From 0.01 to 0.03 megahertz, the birds oriented as they normally would, but from 0.65 to 7 megahertz, the birds did not orient correctly. There is still a lot we do not know about the migration patterns of birds, but Ritz and his team discovered a crucial part of the puzzle and linked what seems small and insignificant, like the spin of an electron, to the behavioral pattern of a species. It's amazing to realize that something as small as quantum physics can have such a powerful and real-world effect on something like biology and behavior.